Just before this episode, I wanted to tell you you can get more from Never a Truer Word by subscribing on Spotify. If you are a Spotify listener, and 90% of you are according to the stats, then you can subscribe to get early access to the weekly episodes, video episodes so you can follow along with the statements, exclusive subscriber episodes, and a chance to leave comments for future episodes too. Go to the Spotify page for Never a Truer Word and press subscribe or unlock. And if you do decide to subscribe, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Welcome to Never a Truer Word, where we look at the words that people choose to use to see if they're telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I'm going to look at the case of Jay Slater. Jay is currently, at the time of recording, missing on the island of Tenerife, and I've been asked to look at a GoFundMe campaign set up by someone called Lucy. At the time of recording, this GoFundMe is still active and has £25,000 of a £30,000 target raised. And Lucy May, who organised this, has a message on the GoFundMe. And it's problematic. A lot of people have problems with this. Let's look through the entire message and then we'll decode and look at the word choices there and see if we can find out if this is genuine or if there's more going on. So the message starts, "Hi everyone, my name is Lucy. I have come on holiday to Tenerife to attend the NRJ festival with my friend Jay and another friend. On the last day of the festival, I left alone earlier than everyone else because I was tired from the weekend. I woke up to a phone call off Jay at 8:30 a.m. saying he was lost in the mountains, he wasn't aware of his surroundings, he desperately needed a drink and his phone was on 1%. That last part's in quotes. He had met two people on Sunday night and left with them to go to their apartment. Their apartment was miles away from civilization and in a very secluded location. He left at 8 a.m. and walked half an hour before frantically ringing me when his phone reached 1%. This was 3 days ago now and no one has seen or heard from him since. His last location was on an off-road track which was a 10-hour walk from his hotel. The weather conditions up there are terrible for someone in shorts and a t-shirt, both in the day and at night. He has no water for when it's warm throughout the day, and he has no coat, suitable clothing for when it's cold at night. It was 1 degree and extremely windy when I was out looking in the middle of the night. We are all so worried and we just want him home. Please help if you can and share far and wide. Thank you for reading." So let's look at it and let's look at the word choices she uses to see if this is truthful or if there is deception going on. So it starts with, "Hi everyone, my name is Lucy. I have come on holiday to Tenerife to attend the NRJ festival with my friend Jay and another friend." Now, first things first, who is she addressing? Well, she tells us this is to everyone. It's her priority is saying hi to everyone. In fact, it's quite a breezy introduction for quite a dark story. Hi everyone, but everyone is who she's addressing here. She wants this to go far and wide. Now, why is that? Now, we know what the content of this message is, and it's about a man being missing for 3 days. But she doesn't mention that for a long time in this message. She's setting up a story here. "My name is Lucy. I have come on holiday to Tenerife. I've come to attend the NRJ festival and I'm with my friend Jay and another friend." So she talks about lots of things. She's storytelling here. She's setting up a story. She's setting up a situation and she's inserting herself into the situation. She's telling us how she is involved in this situation. All of those things are not the most important thing about this message. So why is she doing that? Why does she feel the need to set up this story and talk about things that are not about a man who's been missing for 3 days, help needed to find this person? Interesting. Lucy's location is interesting. She talks about it quite a lot through this. So she's telling us right now in the words, "I have come on holiday to Tenerife." She's currently in Tenerife. Just remember that as we go through. And interestingly, how she talks about the people that she's with. It's, "I've come with my friend Jay and another friend." Actually, 3 separate units there. And also, who's this other friend? This another friend does not get mentioned again in this message at all. They play no further part in it. They disappear after being mentioned once. So why are they mentioned there? I think this is part of this storytelling that she is doing. She's setting up a scene with location, reasons, characters. This is, for me, this is a story. This friend disappears, but there's a real lack of unity there. There's 3 separate people. There's Lucy, there's my friend Jay, and there's this other friend. She doesn't say, I came with my friends, including Jay, or we came. She doesn't use the word we to talk about these people at all. There's a lack of unity. So I don't believe that she's very close friends with Jay and this other friend. She continues, and she continues in storytelling mode. On the last day of the festival, I left alone earlier than everyone else because I was tired from the weekend. I woke up to a phone call off Jay at 8:30 a.m. saying he was lost in the mountains, he wasn't aware of his surroundings, he desperately needed a drink, and his phone was on 1%. So she's telling us twice that she was not part of anything here, that she's separate from this. It's very important for her to get this across for some reason, and I don't know why that is. Was there an event that happened that she doesn't want to be part of but she's aware of, or is she trying to explain the fact of why she wasn't there, i.e. she wasn't that close to Jay or this other friend at all? I left alone and earlier than everyone else. Well, those are the two same things. She's twice telling us that she was alone, that she was not there at a very pertinent time. And then she goes on to say, because I was tired from the weekend. So she's explaining her reason why this happened as well. So it's really important for her to get across that she wasn't there at this certain time. It's so important for her to get that across. She's giving us a reason as well. She says, I woke up to a phone call off Jay. Interesting. The phone call didn't wake her up. I woke up to some text messages this morning. They came in through the night, and that's how I would describe them. I woke up to some text messages. But if my phone had woken me up when those text messages were going off, I was woken up by text messages is how I would describe it. Interesting choice of words there. Interesting amount of detail as well. She tells us precisely when the call came, 8:30 a.m, and precisely the battery life on Jay's phone, 1%. Very precise. There's no abouts here or the fact that his battery was low or nearly dying or anything like that. And no, around 8:30 in the morning. It's very, very precise. She talks about what Jay told her, and again, she repeats a concept. He was lost in the mountains. He wasn't aware of his surroundings. So twice, she's getting across the fact that Jay told her he was lost. Why they need to tell us twice what happened? Potentially because none of this actually happened. She's very low on actual content that she can talk about. So she says the same thing twice, but in two different ways. Apparently Jay desperately needed a drink. She does not say why this was. No reason is given for that. And later on, we will look at something that she talks about. And I wonder why, at this point, he desperately needed a drink. She uses quotation marks. Quotation marks are around the section that says, he was lost in the mountains. He wasn't aware of his surroundings. He desperately needed a drink and his phone was on 1%. Now, if she's using quotation marks to quote what Jay says, that should come from Jay's point of view. Jay was saying, I'm lost in the mountains. I'm not aware of my surroundings. I desperately need a drink. My phone is on 1%. Let's just assume, though, that she's not that bright and that she doesn't realise that the quotation marks are actual quotes. So she's using that to quote the contents of the call. Well, that, therefore, indicates what was in the call, if it happened. Just this part, he's lost, needs a drink, phone on 1%. She doesn't tell us why Jay called. What was Jay's reason for calling Lucy? You know, if what Lucy's saying is true, he would have asked for help, maybe shared his location, said what sort of assistance he needs, or maybe even said his plans for what he was going to do. But there is none of that conveyed by Lucy at all. She does not say why Jay called. I don't think this call happened. It's just not a realistic description of what this phone call would be like. Lucy continues, he had met two people on Sunday night and left with them to go to their apartment. Their apartment was miles away from civilization and in a very secluded location. He left at 8 a.m. and walked half an hour before frantically ringing me when his phone reached 1%. How does she know this? How does she know what happened on Sunday night? How does she know what time Jay left? And more. She doesn't tell us again how she knows. She's quoted the phone call, but this now is information that she's not telling us where this information came from. Potentially, because is this publicly available information? Do other people know this? Has she just inserted herself into the story and used things that are known about Jay to write this story? She doesn't say how she knows this. Again from Lucy, very common in this note, she says the same thing twice in two different ways. Their apartment was miles away from civilization and in a very secluded location. Well, if you are miles away from civilization, you are in a very secluded location. She says he met 2 people on Sunday night. No description of these people at all. Relationship to Jay, men, women, mixture, ages, nationalities. She doesn't say. This was a music festival, so this could have been all sorts of people, but she doesn't have anything to say about these people. Again, she's just using publicly available information and inserting herself into there, which is why she has no detail. Once more, we have this detail, precise detail. He left at 8 a.m. and his phone reached 1%. She's very precise on some of these details. There's no left around 8 a.m. His phone was low. And she says, before frantically ringing me when his phone reached 1%. Now, is there anything frantic about her description of the phone call? It seems to be very calm passing on of information. A situation report, if you like, a sit rep. There's certainly no, please help, please get help. Some franticness in what she's saying was the content of this phone call. But she says he was frantically ringing, but there is nothing frantic about her description of what Jay did. Apparently, according to this, Jay passed on information and it seems to be quite calm. She says he left at 8 a.m. and walked half an hour. So why did he desperately need a drink? If he was in an apartment where I'm assuming drink was available, if he walked half an hour, that's not the point where you desperately need a drink. I get it may be warm, it may be arduous terrain, so he was thirsty, but not desperately needing a drink after walking half an hour. Again, don't believe you. Lucy continues in this GoFundMe. This was 3 days ago now, and no one has seen or heard from him since. His last location was on an off-road track, which was a 10-hour walk from his hotel. So this is the most important thing in the message. Someone's life at risk, someone being missing for 3 days. This was 3 days ago now, and no one has seen or heard from him since. Why is this so far down the message? My friend has been missing for 3 days. No one has seen or heard from him in that time. Should be the very beginning of the message, the most important thing. And if she was really worried and concerned about her friend, this would have been how she started it. But no, it's halfway down the note. One for people who are interested in these things. 3 days ago, 3 often thought of as the liar's number. And she says his last location was on an off-road track, which was a 10-hour walk from his hotel. Well, it still is a 10-hour walk from his hotel. Interesting use of the tenses there. And also a 10-hour walk from his hotel. Therefore, not Lucy's hotel, because she would have said our hotel. So although she apparently arrived with Jay and another friend, she's letting us know that she's not at the same hotel as them. Now, friends can go places and stay at different hotels. I absolutely get that. What I am getting here is a real lack of unity between Lucy and Jay and this other friend, because he was away from his hotel. Not away from her, not away from our hotel, but from his hotel. Lucy continues, the weather conditions up there are terrible for someone in shorts and a t-shirt, both in the day and at night. He has no water for when it's warm throughout the day, and he has no coat, suitable clothing for when it's cold at night. Location, again, the weather conditions up there are terrible. So the words up there tell us that Lucy is not there where Jay's last location was. Look, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just saying look at Lucy's location throughout this, and she is not there in the area, certainly currently, as she writes this, not searching for Jay. She's remote from there. Terrible conditions for someone in shorts and a t-shirt. I get that. She's talking in general. She's not talking about Jay there. And then Jay's been missing, in her words here, for 3 days. No one has seen him and no one has heard from him, but she says he has no water and he has no coat, suitable clothing. So in the present tense. So how does she know this? How does she know 3 days on that he has no water? Potentially, he has found a source of water. Potentially, he has got something to keep him warm at night, or some shelter to keep him warm at night. But she, in her mind, says he has no water and has no clothing. I just don't buy this story. She says it was 1 degree and extremely windy when I was out looking in the middle of the night. So this was, according to her, she has been looking for Jay, but the only thing she tells us about is she went looking in the middle of the night. Now, I would think that would be a really bad time to go looking for someone. But there's certainly no description of when she was out looking in the day, when it's obviously much more likely to see something or see someone. She only talks about going and looking in the middle of the night for Jay. Really interesting. And she says, we are also worried and we just want him home. Who's we? She doesn't say who we are. She also doesn't say that she's worried. She doesn't specifically ever say that she is worried about Jay. She just joins herself to, we are also worried. We just want him home. And then she says, please help if you can and share far and wide. Thank you for reading. Now, share what far and wide? You know, share the story far and wide so that more people are aware of it. Share Jay's picture so that if someone sees him, they know who they are. Or is it share this GoFundMe far and wide so that I can get lots of money from it? I think that might be what was happening. She finishes with, thank you for reading. Very polite. Again, it's like how she started this with, hi everyone, I'm Lucy, and thank you for reading. She wants people to be on her side. She's grateful to people for reading this, and she wants to get across. She's a very nice, very polite person. So that's the note. What are my conclusions? This is fabricated storytelling. Multiple indicators there of Lucy seeing a chance to be at the center of this story, but there's no concern about Jay, the details, there's nothing she gets across that no one else knows. All the interaction with Jay is very, very remote. I don't believe she went looking for him at all. I think this is all about starting a GoFundMe to get money. So do not send any money to that GoFundMe at all. If you like this, if you hit subscribe or follow, then you'll get more episodes as soon as they arrive. Would love to know your thoughts in the comments. Although I know the guy Jay is very controversial. There's lots of opinions on him. This is not the place for that. It's more about Lucy here. If you hit the like button or share with more people, then this will get to more people, especially, you know, when someone's asking for money, potentially fraudulently. Let's share this and let's make sure that fewer people donate money to this GoFundMe. And if you like what we do here, there are more podcasts, videos. You can sign up for the newsletter and get in touch on social media by having a look at the website neveratruerword.com. And we'll see you soon for something new from Never a Truer Word.